it's important to recognize that, because if you're doing it as a hobby, your results are going to be different than if you're doing it to grow a successful business, and your goals have to be in line with that. Same with, some businesses are for a cause, and causes are great, but sometimes a business with a cause, many times that fits better as a nonprofit than a for-profit, because at the end of the day, what makes a good product, it's something that people need, want, and desire, and are willing to pay you for. But if the people you're trying to serve using your cause can't afford to pay you for it, then it's not going to be a real good business. So that's where nonprofits and other organizations fit better, but it's important to kind of know where you stand and what type of business you're going to try to run, so that you can make sure that you're running it appropriately, your expectations are appropriate. So just clarifying that. A lot of businesses are self-employment. People are looking for employment, a job, or just have an opportunity to work doing what they love to do without being encumbered with an organization. And that's fine and good, but there's limits to self-employment. Number one, as a self-employed, your business is you. So it's hard to go on vacation. Every time you're not there, you're making less money, so it's costing you money. You can't sell your business unless you sell yourself with it, so you don't have a nest egg. So there's some limitations to that. And sometimes people are doing self-employment, but they don't really understand what that means and what the trajectory is. And a lot of times, self-employed people, and just because you're self-employed doesn't mean you can't have employees. That just means that you're the main employee doing a lot of main work, and if you left the business and sold it, it probably wouldn't be a business anymore. So understanding that is key, and the earlier you understand it, the more you can move forward. And what I found is a lot of people who are in self-employment, they do that for a while, and they realize that there has to be something better, and there's limitations that I didn't know or realize. And that's really where the enterprise comes. And really, if you're going to do a business, your focus should be on enterprise, growing, building a team, and building an organization that you don't have to be there to run. So that's really the goal, is to build an organization that can run well without you. That doesn't mean you're not there, but you're creating value. You're for a longer term nest egg, you're creating a much better lifestyle for yourself, because you'll make more money and you'll work less. And that's probably part of why you're in the business. And you're making a huge difference for the community. Those are the businesses that make small businesses the #1 employer in the United States, because they're businesses that grow. You grow from one, just like Miani. She's a great example. She grew from 2 people, now she's got a staff of 10. Look at her in a few years, it might be 20. 10 years from now, she might, it could be 100. And that's what you can do with a small business. So it's key, but the earlier you start focusing on the enterprise, the better, because if you don't, eventually you're going to realize that you need to. So it would be better to start earlier, because then you'll accomplish your goals sooner. So definitely something to think about and at least be aware of, because a lot of times a lot of business owners aren't aware of kind of where they're going or where they should be going. So knowing your business purpose is key. And part of this is, we talked about not being able to know everything, and to have an enterprise you need to grow. So there's really 3 key areas of growth that you need to have focus on and have a plan for. Number 1, for yourself, you need to personally grow, develop your skills, develop your network, relationships, develop your business. So you need to be growing yourself, and obviously, because you're here, that's something that you value, and that's important, because that makes a huge difference. friends used to say, there's really only two ways that you learn in business. One is that you take the time to plan and learn, and the other is by losing money. So, which would you prefer? So that's really what a growth plan is all about: is growing, developing yourself. No matter what, you're still going to lose some money. I've lost money. I've had businesses, but hopefully you limit it and you learn from it. Definitely you can't lose too much money, or you won't be in business too long. So the more you prepare and plan, the better. So now, this is the key that most entrepreneurs need to know and may not understand. And one of the reasons why I have everybody read the E-Myth is because it does the first two pieces. It helps to build your awareness and understanding that, maybe in the beginning you're working within your business, but your goal should be to be able to work on your business. So, and you can't really work on your business well if you're spending all your time working in your business. And also, you can't work on your business if you don't know how to work on your business, what it needs to work on your business. And you can't work on your business if you don't use numbers. And that takes us back to the topic for today, overcoming your greatest fear. Because if you don't, and you don't incorporate using money into your business, or using numbers and finance and quantitative analysis into your business strategies, then you're never going to be able to make it to working on your business. And so your business is always going to be dependent on you. And it's the equivalent of being self-employed, because you're never able to be extracted from the business and have it work and run the way it needs to. So understanding the journey and the path is key, because a lot of people don't even realize that. And you want to know that from the beginning, or as early on as you can, because you need to plan for this and prepare, and that needs to be your goal. So, what does it mean to do this? So let me just, we'll talk a little bit more about what it means, but what we're going to focus on today, because most small businesses never make it beyond working in their business, never make it to be working on their business. We're going to focus on that. I focus on that a lot. How do you make that transition? And actually, Miani's made that transition very successfully. That's how she's been able to grow. That's how she's been able to move from beyond just doing her school to also leading the effort to create a Montessori charter school, because she's working on her business. She has developed her business in a way that she has enough time to work on it, and she's got she's got a head of school that's running her business. So building your business, you got to develop the infrastructure to be able to work on your business. So we're going to focus on how do you go from working in your business to working on your business, and that's a key concept that Michael Gerber puts out. But one of the challenges is nobody actually tells you what it means or how to work on the business, even he talks about it but doesn't really give the details. And then also I added a piece because I think there's a next level that you need to transform yourself, and that's working on the future of your business. Once you've worked on your business, basically if you think about working on your business is really working on your products and services and your market. So you're working within, working in your business. Working on your business is really working to optimize your business, make it more effective, build capacity, strengthen your business. And once you've done that, you're prepared to be able to grow quickly. But if you don't do that, if you grow, your problems are just going to multiply and you're going to be in trouble. So working in your business to working on your business to build your capacity, and then working on the future of your business. And that's where you're planning for the future. You're not even focused on what's going on right now. You're looking at, where's your business going, what new markets, how are you going to grow, and being able to spend all your time like that. And that's what larger organizations do. That's what their management teams do. So, this is really the path to achieving the success that most entrepreneurs and business owners are looking to achieve. But it's a path where most people get stuck between step one and step two. So today I'm going to share what you need to do to get from step one to step two. And actually that's exactly what, did working with Miani. And we're going to walk you through exactly what we did. But also, Miani's in the book, chapters 3 and chapter 4. So you can read a little bit more about it too. So it gives a great example of kind of, how the process works, and in real life, a real life example of how it's been very successful. And I still remember 5 years ago, we sat down and did a strategic plan, and actually build a charter school was in the plan. We talked, it was, and she's right on track. And what I find is if you plan, you usually accomplish what you set out to, or even more, faster, because you know where you're going and you know what you're trying to do. And that's just like this path. If you know this path, you're gonna do what you need to do to stay on it and be a lot successful, a lot faster. So that's what we're talking about, is really helping entrepreneurs and business owners to take their business to the next level and be more successful. So one of the first key things that I developed, the tool out of this, actually this was one of the great things about writing the book, is develop the tool for helping figure out where you are and where you need to go as far as those 3 steps. Because it's one thing to say I need to do this, but how do I actually do this? And what are the specifics? So developing this tool allows you to quickly assess where your business is based on 8 key categories, and then you can get a Small Business Pro score, and you work to build your score. But the other thing is, you know exactly what your area of focus needs to be in each of these categories. So you know where you're going and what you're trying to achieve, because a lot of times, not knowing the path or what you're supposed to do or what you need to do is what hurts entrepreneurs and business owners, because you have limited time and you may not be focusing on the right things or trying to do the right things, or even do things detrimental to what you really need to do. So created the assessment is key, and what we do with the assessment is we put together a methodology of how you move your business to the next level. So the assessment is the first part of step 1 is assessing where you are, because if you don't know where you are, how are you going to know how to get to where you want to go? So the first step, you need to assess yourself, assess your business. Very difficult to do that yourself because you're biased. So you need to get help with that. Maybe you have a board of directors, maybe you have clients or suppliers or take input from other places, and it doesn't hurt to have a coach or consultant. That's the first thing I do when I work with someone, is figure out where they are, because I need to meet you where you are and figure out how to take you from where you are to where you want to be. So first we got to know where you are, and then the second place is you really got to know where you want to be. So you have to envision. So you have to envision where you want to be. A lot of times, you've done some visioning, something you want to have, but it's not really having a clear vision of where you want to be. It's not specifics, like I want to have $10,000 in revenues in 3 years. I mean, 10 million. $10 million in revenues in 3 years. I want to have 15 employees working for me. I want to have my own facility. I want to, though you have to have concrete goals, and you have to be able to envision it and see it, because you can't do it if you can't see it. And as small business owners, a lot of times your vision is too small or your expectations are too small, and they should be much higher. But taken through an envisioning process so that you can make sure that, number one, you are setting the right goals, reasonable goals, and stretch goals. So even if you don't make your goal, you've made it really far. But if you don't have any goals, then you already succeeded in achieving them. But that's not really a good thing. So the first step is assessing and envisioning. Step two is analyzing and recommending. So you really have to analyze, once you know where you are and you know where you want to go, you have to figure out, well, how do I get there? So that's creating your path. So each business is different, but you have to create a path and a strategy for how you're getting there, so you know where you're going and you know what to do. So you've got to analyze information to figure out, well, what's it take? I want to do $10 million in revenues, and I'm selling cans of soup for $1 a piece. That means I need to sell $10 million of soup, 10 million cans of soup, okay? Now, I can't do that out of a single store, so maybe I need multiple stores, or maybe so you have to take, if you have a concrete vision, then you can work back and figure out, well, how do I achieve it, and develop a plan that will actually achieve it. Because that is key. But we talk about analyze, and I talked about the greatest fear and of analysis, and using quantitative analysis of most small business owners. But if you're going to be a successful business owner, the reason you're going to be a successful business owner is because you're making good decisions. And how can you make good decisions if you only have half of the information that you need? You can't. So that's where, doing the numbers, so you have a quantitative and qualitative analysis to figure out where you need to go. $10 million in 3 years, okay. Next year, I did $1 million this year. So next year, I need to do $2.5 million. The year after that, I need to do $7 million, and then I'll do $10 million. So what is my plan to do the $2.5 million this year? What do I need to do? What resources do I need? So putting together a recommendation of how you're going to achieve your plan, but you have to analyze all the information available to you so that you can have the best plan possible. And it can be, you can achieve it. So step two is analyzing and coming up with recommendations of what you need to do to achieve your goals. And then step three is the most important step, because you could do 1 and 2 well, but if you don't do 3 well, then it doesn't help. So you have to implement. You have to actually make it happen. So by putting together implementation process and implementing, that's where the rubber meets the road. But you need to do that. But you can't do that well if you don't have a way to track your information and get feedback on it. So implementation and tracking goes hand in hand. So say next year you need to do $2.5 million in sales. That means, pretty much every year you have to do every month you need to do $210,000 worth of sales. So rather than wait until the end of the year and say, oh, I didn't do $2.5 million worth of sales, that means I need to do $210,000 every month. That means I need to do like $52,500 every week, so that every week you can know if you're on track. And if you're not, what am I doing? Why am I not on track? What can I do to be on track? Is what I'm trying to do possible? So having that information, and that's quantitative information too. So you need to do your numbers. But it's not that hard. If you understand it, and we're gonna break it down for a little bit as well. But being able to implement and track, that's the only way you can run your business as opposed to have it run you, because you understand what's going on in your business and you can make decisions in enough time that they matter. You know, you have the information to make decisions on a regular basis, and you can make small course adjustments to make sure you stay on the plane. So it's really about knowing where you are, having a clear picture of where you're going, analyzing the path to go from where you are to where you want to be, and then coming up with recommendations on, you know, how to do that and what to focus on initially, and then implementing and tracking it. And I have the circle with the arrows because it's something that you constantly do. It's an iterative process in that you do it again and again, because as you do things, you're tracking, you're learning things, then you are in a different spot. So you got to assess where you are and envision, you know, maybe your vision will change. Maybe you wanted 10 million, but this last year you got 7 in the first year. So then you might be like, well, I want 25 million in 3 years instead of 10. So it's a continuous process, but you know, this is the process you can use to help make sure that you're on the right track and doing the right thing. So you know, definitely everything I'm talking about is laid out in the book and the theme of the book. So there's a lot more information and details and examples, but